Hello. Well, today I'm going to revisit something I had posted on Facebook a while back, but I never actually did a YouTube channel on it, or at least a YouTube video on it. So today we go back to the history of old Rappahannock County. So I'm going to go back to a much earlier story that speaks to some of the roots of the first westward migration that began up the Rapidan River that had its roots in the migration up the Rappahannock River, which if you go to the Chesapeake Bay and Jamestown, you had three major thrusts. Obviously, you had the James River, and there were others, York and what have you, but the James River come up in the bay a bit more, and you've got the Rappahannock River. A little bit further around again, another horn of land, if you will, and you come up the Potomac River. And interestingly enough, Stafford County, which is up the Potomac, I believe was crystallized as a county in 1656. Although that could be 1651. I'll have to check me on that. But old Rappahannock County was crystallized in 1656. Now, the interesting thing, you didn't see Spotsylvania County until the 1700s later on. I think it's 1721, thereabouts, and 1736 for Orange County. So you have a very late occurrence in terms of the arc of people exploring and coming inland. You had much earlier explorations up the James River, and in fact there were serious altercations back in the early 1600s. They were already above Richmond with plantations and plantings, and that was part of the problem. So anyway, let me get to this. So this is something I think it's foundational. I think a lot of people would appreciate this knowledge. Old Rappahannock County introduction, early explorations and adventures. The first settlement of white men in Virginia was apparently that made by the Spaniards. Menendez de Aviles Pedro, I believe, probably on the Potomac River. He commanded the Spanish Armada, which carried Philip II back to Spain in 1559. And in 1560, he was commanded by royal order to examine the Atlantic coast of Port Royal, South Carolina. When he went to Florida in 1570, he had, according to the records, established a mission at Axacon in the Chesapeake Bay region. So that's an interesting name, Axacon, and this is 1500s. In the Chesapeake Bay region. The colony was massacred by the Indians, or Indigenous, on February 8th of 1571. That's an interesting thing to consider. The lost mission of Axacon in 1571 on the Potomac, or in that area. The colony was massacred by the Indians on February 8th of 1571. By the time of his return to it in 1572, all had perished. He captured and took off 8 of the Indians known to have had a part in the massacre. Now, this is an interesting story because it also talks about Powhatan actually playing dumb and having actually understanding the English language, and that a lot of his savvy, the sort of like the unofficial story is, came from earlier interactions with the Spanish. And there's other stuff to speak to this, so enjoy this. This might be regarded as closing of a tragic incident were it not for the fact that Mosco, M-O-S-C-O, who appeared to have been the descendant of one of these Spaniards, befriended the English, taught them military tactics effective on the river against the savages in the wilderness, guided their explorations, and helped them to secure food supplies. He stands out as one of the Indians whose friendship made possible the permanence of the English occupation of Virginia. And this gets us to Captain John Smith.